If you're a frequent visitor to the Spector Creative channel, you know that I'm very passionate about Masters of the Universe, the He-Man brand. Part of it is because, well, I did professionally work on it for many years, but I'm also a lifelong fan of it. And when I see Masters of the Universe product going on clearance, I get concerned. It doesn't mean in any way I want Masters of the Universe to fail. That's the last thing I want. Not only am I invested professionally, but again, I'm invested emotionally in this brand. It's a brand I grew up with, and I love it, and I want a new generation of kids to be able to enjoy it. Putting out a collector line for Masters of the Universe is one thing, because, getting adults to buy nostalgia-based figures is sometimes like, fish in a barrel. But getting kids into a brand is a challenge. And if you can do that generation to generation, you really have a gold mine. So, yeah, I want nothing more than for Masters of the Universe to catch on with a new generation. But the reality of it is, I have, and I'm sure you have too, you've seen a lot of the product going on clearance, a lot of repaints, a lot of low-tool, no-tool figures. And this tends to be interpreted on the internet as somehow my concern for the line has been translated to me cheering for the line to fail. That is absurd. I mean, I've said this before. It's like if you see a lamppost catch on fire, right? And you say, oh my gosh, that lamppost is on fire. I'm concerned about it. Somebody do something. It doesn't mean you're anti-lamppost. It just means you're concerned and you're pointing out the concern. So kind of with that as framework, obviously, Masters of the Universe has had a lot of reveals, and they're awesome. I've done a few videos on these. I'm really, really excited. I may not be actively collecting every MOTU line that Mattel puts out now. Part of it is because I already own a lot of He-Man toys, and I only have room for so much. The fact that these have inspired a new generation, and collectors are getting them, is fantastic. The concern is the fact that this product continues to go on sale, continues to go on clearance, and continues to show new waves of figures with very low tooling. Granted, the latest reveals have kind of reversed that and shown a lot of tooling, like in the case of Mantenna. Alright, so that's the concern, and it's based on observations. If Revelation, Masterverse, Origins, the CGI show, the minis can continue, that would make me so happy because I want kids to play with this brand so much. And it pains me when I see these kind of things at retail. So, in particular, I wanted to make this video not only to clarify my stance that, I don't want this brand. I don't want any brand to go on clearance, honestly. I know how much hard work goes into getting this product to retail. It's years of work, just for one figure. And it's such a shame when, product does go on clearance because it doesn't sell well, because, kids may not be buying it. So that's why I want to talk about Stratos. So Stratos appeared in Masters of the Universe Origins twice. First, the one I just showed, and now, well, this one, this repaint. And I have a concern about this repaint, and that's, well, I guess that's what this video is about. I'm not in any way cheering for, this repaint to not sell or be responsible for bringing down the brand. But I want to point out, just from an observation standpoint, that this figure, the Stratos repaint, has kind of become a beacon for what is an overall problem in the toy industry in general. And I would hate to see this Stratos affect the future of Masters of the Universe. Alright, so what's the deal with this repaint? Why is it a big deal? Why is Stratos tan? Alright, well, this repaint is based on two things. One, it's based on the original concept artwork for the character that became Stratos, that was originally called Airman, back when Merman was called Seaman. Yeah, you do the math. And he had a different necklace, he had a different belt, and he had slightly different colors. When the original mini-comics came out in 1982, which was the only content for Masters of the Universe, there was no Filmation series, etc. yet, well, in the original mini-comics, they were designed, drawn, written during the pre-production aspect of the line, meaning a lot of stuff was fluid, a lot of things weren't solid yet. So Stratos kind of was all over the map. He would sometimes be shown as He-Man's ally, he would sometimes be shown fighting against He-Man, and he had some color swaps and some visual design swaps. All of this concept details, like the necklace, like the belt, like the tan skin, like the extra furry legs, made it into the first and second mini-comic, but by the time the third one rolled around, they had managed to put him in different color scheme to match the toy. He's even shown as one of Skeletor's flunkies, unless he's, sneaking up on Skeletor there, but no, originally, yes, Merman and Stratos were Skeletor's flunkies. Now, Stratos isn't the only character that had some visual changes in the mini-comics. Merman also went through some changes. He was first blue with a much different head sculpt or head design and more details like those tassels on his belt and on his legs. Now, this is why Merman also looked like this on the cross-cell. His head and the details were changed to be more cost-effective. Teela also went through a color change. In her sorceress/goddess version, she had green skin, and this was also dropped later on. Stratos eventually did revert to the colors that we know him best, and why Stratos needs to fly around on a flying vehicle when he could fly himself is kind of almost as crazy as when a Flash motorcycle was put out. Similar concept, right? Why does a flying character need a flying vehicle, and why does a character who can run faster than anything in the world need a motorcycle? Warner Brothers actually asked Mattel to stop making this toy. That's a whole other YouTube video, I suppose. All right, so back to Stratos. Eventually, by the time the mini-comics were wrapping up, at least that first batch, he was back to being He-Man's ally and using his flying powers to bash into the bad guys. But this look did stick around, and, if there's one thing about fans is that we, like elephants, never forget. And that original look for Stratos has still cropped up in artwork, and it's shown up in both custom toys and officially licensed toys. Because honestly, when you have a legitimate variant of a character that you can sell to collectors, to adults, hey, you've got an existing toy and you can repaint it. You don't have to pay that huge capital fee of tooling expense. The $100,000 for a fully tooled figure. The $5,000 to $20,000 to $50,000 for a partially tooled figure. Which is why in lines that are not sold at retail, that are sold directly to collectors, i.e. online or at conventions, comic book stores, you see this repaint of Stratos used. It's a brilliant repaint. It's legitimate, but it only appeals to those hardcore collectors. Most people, like 99.9% of the population who knows who Stratos is, sees him like this. This is the way the original toy was released, and how he showed up in all of the entertainment, Filmation, 2000X, etc., etc. He did have 2 different color swaps in the vintage toy, where his backpack was either blue or red, and then also the wings swapped colors, but that was just a accessory swap. His skin color, his head color, his arms, legs, that all stayed the same. And while some people had the red vest, some people had the blue vest, both have been done. In fact, the Stratos in Classics, we actually did both versions. First we did the blue backpack, red wings, and then we did the red backpack, blue wings with the Toys R Us 2-pack where he fought against a DC character. All right, so that brings us now back to this origin Stratos and why I'm legitimately concerned about this. A deco that reflects an extremely rare, collector-friendly sort of super fan look for a character is great for conventions, online sales, promotions, special offers, mail away. Putting this at retail, putting a character that is not only, well, I guess the look is so obscure, it causes peg warmers. I know about this because I've caused peg warmers. When I was running the Justice League line, I made a typo, and I put 2 Kilowoggs in a case pack that was supposed to have 2 Superman. And Kilowog became a peg warmer for a long time. It almost cost having Justice League at Target because there were so many Kilowoggs. One bad screw, if you will, can throw off an entire machine, an entire toy line. And yes, a single figure absolutely can back up so much that it causes a retailer to just stop ordering a line entirely. And the reason that I'm concerned is I'm seeing entire pegs of this figure, of this Stratos, at all of my Targets and Walmarts. So what can be done? Well, there's a stock swap. That's one thing that can be done, where a toy company, the manufacturer, comes in and pays someone to go and swap out product. This is really expensive, and it's usually only done for major lines that have movies. But it can be done. It is an option. I never was able to pull that trigger on a line I worked on, but I know Barbie and Hot Wheels and people who ran some of the Batman movie lines did do this because those are major multi-billion-dollar brands. I don't know what the revenue for Masters of the Universe Origins or their whole retail statement is, but it's probably less than Barbie and Hot Wheels. All right, so it's not the time to panic. Do not panic. And again, I am in no way rooting for Origins or any He-Man line to fail. I'm just pointing out my observations and, ideally, my experience actually working in the toy industry to talk about what could possibly be done. I am not cheering for Masters of the Universe to end. I've never said that. I've just pointed out, as time has gone on, that things like repaints, obscure repaints, and non-tooled figures don't sell as well at retail. And at retail, you need to get kids into a line, not collectors. So I know that, all the folks on the internet are saying, I'm anti-He-Man now, pointing this stuff out, but believe me, I'm not. The best thing you can do if you see this figure is buy it. Give it to a kid, donate it to charity, but this figure is definitely starting to block up the pegs, and if it continues, I am concerned, because I've seen it before. I've seen how one figure in one deco that doesn't appeal to kids, well, it's like one figure to rule them all, or one figure to doom them all. Not being doom and gloom, just pointing out observations here. So go buy a Stratos, support MOTU. I hope you enjoyed this video and it clarified not only sort of my personal opinion on He-Man at retail, but what we can do about it. And hopefully we'll see less obscure deco and non-tooled figures in the line, and it will continue to thrive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.